Hi, I'm Terri Murphy for the Women's Wisdom Network, Women in Business, Women in Real Estate, and In the Men's Room with Murph. And today we have with us Jay Niblick. You may not know Jay, but you will probably have heard of what he's done. He's the co-founder and chief strategy officer for WizeHire.com. Now that's a software as a service. It's an enterprise that specializes in recruitment software. Which that means is it helps you hire the right people for the right jobs. It's literally changing how we hire people. He's a former U.S. Navy veteran, a husband, also an author. We're going to talk about that later because I love this book and so will you. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you very much for having me.
So the founder and the CEO of Intermetrics Incorporated. Tell us about that.
Intermetrics is where the company has created all those personality assessments. So that's my background, personality assessments and sales, which sounds like a really weird oil and water mix, but it works. So that was started in '99 and we sell through consultants. You know, the profiles aren't direct to consumers. They're meant to be used by executive coaches, trainers, consultants, management consultants, things like that. And they use them with all of their clients. So I think that's up to 1,800 or so consultants in about 52 countries. So maybe 10,000 clients.
That's amazing because I know WizeHire is 6,000 and counting. When you use a platform like WizeHire, tell us about how that helps us grow our business.
So WizeHire grew out of the thoughts behind Intermetrics to say the small business owners, small to medium size, they want to be able to hire just as successfully as some Fortune 1000 company. They just don't happen to have a 25 or 250 person HR department. And so the benefits are to figure out what is it that's really around keys on recruiting the best talent, right? So how do you write really great job descriptions, which sounds surprisingly simple, but it's not.
It is not.
You know, it's like somebody saying good marketing is easy. You know, you just tell people to come to the business. It doesn't work that way, but it is marketing. It is selling, getting it out to a bunch of job boards in a way that is automated and syndicated. And then using those assessments that we started on the Intermetric side to decide who's going to be the best fit for the role. And that's one of the big factors as well. And then having a system that allows them to use it all because they're not expert hiring managers. That's our customer. Somebody for whom that's just kind of I have to do this, but I don't really know how or have the time.
Well, and that brings me to another one. As a master coach myself, I'll tell you that people keep thinking, well, I can just do this myself. And then, you know, they're working in the business instead of hiring capable people. And it's perhaps sometimes because they've hired people that didn't work out and then they had to go through the hiring, firing thing. And what was really interesting about what WizeHire did for one of the companies I work with, which is Workman Success, a coaching company, is it literally wrote the descriptions. Now that's the first hurdle, because if you have to write the descriptions, you start going into this laundry list and you don't know if that's exactly what the job description is going to be or not. So with your help, you literally wrote the descriptions, which helped attract the right people. How's that worked out?
Phenomenally. It's ridiculously, annoyingly complex to write a good job description. I was shocked at first too. So we have teams of internal writers, professional writers. And the two variables that nobody really thinks about are SEO and personality. And so the job boards, certain SEO words get flagged. And you think you're doing a great job saying limitless financial potential. I'd write down, hey, make all the money you want. Those words and certain statements, and there's thousands of them, actually penalize you on the job boards because they're always looking for somebody that's trying to sell something, not recruit people. So not understanding all of that library makes a big difference. And then the assessment, the personality of the person you're talking to. So most of the people that are using us are type A's, right? You know, they're business leaders, they're harder chargers. So they put down terse, short bullets about, hey, come over here, make a ton of money. And, you know, it's a challenge. And if you're not ready to make more money than your girlfriend can spend, was one of the more famous ones we got submitted to us. Long story short, you know, the job boards weren't going to play it. And they didn't understand, why wasn't I attracting the people I wanted?
Well, and that's another thing. There's an easy applicant tracking process. So if you've ever used a platform for looking for help, you can get thousands of responses, none of which are very appropriate. Can I say that? Or suitable for the job.
Suitable is good, yeah.
Suitable, yeah. So how does WizeHire help us with that?
So the filtering starts with a lot of the assessment, right? So we've studied the best performers in all of the different roles, whether you're like listing agent, buyer's agent, transaction coordinator, whatever it is. We have 300 different benchmarks. We know what we're looking for from that personality standpoint. What traits do they have to have? So the first thing that happens is we filter them vertically based on who's most likely to look like the top performers in that role in the industry. And then you move them horizontally through the applicant tracking system, right? And that's the one Gartner named us #1 applicant tracking system for small to medium-sized businesses in the world. Toot the horn there, but we're very proud of that. And it makes it real simple for me as the business leader who has maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15. I hit the ground running. I'm in between calls. I don't have a showing yet. I'm going to run in, spend 15 minutes. Who are the people that I have to go straight to the top, most likely to be a good fit, check out their resume, move them to the next stage, and then I'm out. I've got to get back in the car, got to go show some more houses, get another listing, you know. So it saves the progress where you are and allows you to come back in and intermittently move them through kind of in an iterative way versus 1,000 emails showing up in Google with 1,000 resumes, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
forget it.
You're lost. And they check the box. You're looking for something really specific, like a chemical engineering degree, and they're like, well, we like people, which of course, what? Yeah, that doesn't work. Well, it helps to have that automated, you call it automated candidate screening.
Correct.
And then what it does help, it puts it on multiple boards. And so you've got a much better spectrum of finding the right talent.
All in, we're reaching roughly, you know, we're syndicating directly to almost 100 job boards. And those get picked up by feeder boards to somewhere north of maybe 1,000 different job boards. But those are the keys to good hiring. You know, we're helping to facilitate it, but the lessons for the listeners are take care with what you write, right? You know, like marketing for your own clients, care about it, get it out there to as wide as net as possible, have some way to select who's going to be the top candidates, and then a system that allows you to keep it organized without driving yourself crazy. Because a lot of the bad hires we've seen people make, the owners admit it's an exhaustion hire. I looked at 75 resumes and I just don't have, my eyes are crossed. I just picked one. And we've heard people tell us this. I couldn't take it anymore. I just had to hire somebody. You're it.
Yeah, check mark, done, only to find out they've messed up everything. You've taken more time and energy trying to integrate them into the business. Well, you actually have coaches that continue to monitor those ads so that you're really getting some results from doing this, which takes an awful lot out of that type A you're talking about, because they want to hire somebody like themselves for a job that has nothing to do with their expertise. And that's where the disc really works out. Tell us a little bit about how you came about developing something for that intermediary business person. I mean, obviously HR has their own pieces and what they do, and they have very formalized job description. Entrepreneurship is huge in this country, and we all need to have a team because we know we can't function everything, nor do you have the competency. I mean, you don't want me to do your books, trust me. Not
me either.
Yeah,
Me,
I need
decimal
somebody who
points,
really likes
whatever.
that stuff. And well, I just
Yeah.
helped a client get a client care specialist, and she said, "I love mundane." Said, "Really? You know, I love filling in the blanks on these spreadsheets." I'm like, "Bless your heart." Right? Yeah, the rest of us have been drinking heavily.
Yeah, growing up in the South, bless her heart has a different connotation, but yeah, exactly. I have an old phrase: you want to find someone who loves to do what you loathe to do, and they are out there. I love
that. Repeat that. That is really good.
Find someone. The key is to find someone who loves to do what you loathe to do.
That is.
And for teams, that's how it works, right?
As you're watching what's going on in the work world today, how do you think WizeHire is absolutely one of the best solutions? I think it's because we've gone to virtual a lot. A lot of people are not in the office, so we're not observing. We're not one-on-one motivating. How do you think WizeHire can help us make the best decisions going forward?
I think organizing, well, expertise, right? So there's people in there. You talked about the hiring coaches. That's the largest department we have. There's more people in that department than any other department, sales, marketing, engineering, you name it. Because the thing that the customers told us is there's this 5,000 foot to zero gap between all of the other providers, the big job boards. They're fine if you're, several hundred employees, 1,000 employees. You've got people that can navigate all of that. When the small business owner, they're just jumping to try to reach it. So the expertise, the focus of those coaches, the support coaches, hiring coaches who are there, the humans that know your name, you know their name, and you can call them and you can chat with them and you can email them and say, how come this thing's not working? Or how do I change this job description? Or which one of these do you think you like better than the rest? Any of those questions, that's what they're there for. And then, I think the system that allows you to organize it, we've again built that based on what people told us. Those team leaders, those brokers running in the door going, quick, I got 15 minutes and I need you to help me see things that I can't see. And since the pandemic's happened, you lose something. We've got this. This is not, this is binary. This is not the same as those people who are great salespeople. Most all the team leaders are. They lose some of that dimension when they don't get to physically see the person. So that can hurt sometimes too.
It saves huge amounts of time and aggravation to me. But more importantly, it ensures that if you are going to take more time to interview someone after reviewing DISC and speaking to them and however the process works, that you have a much better outcome as you build your team, because every business has to be a team today because consumer demands 24/7. So that said, what's the best way to reach, to just go to WizeHire.com and watch the tutorial?
It goes WizeHire. So WizeHire. We always laugh that we were smart enough to create the company, but not spell it correctly. But now we like it. Now I like the Z, right? So if you guys go to WizeHire.com/realty-times, I'll send this over to you as well. You can, if you're interested in signing up, we've offered a 10% discount for the people that are viewing here. So it's just WizeHire.com/realty-times. Again, I'll put that in here and share it with you, but there's tutorials up there. Feel free to give them my email. Everybody can have that. It's JAY@WizeHire.com.
Pretty simple. Well, one of the things though that I wanted to bring up that a lot of small businesses want is we talk about always in recruitment. Now, for real estate, that's true, but you think about any sales organization because people have issues, their lives change and whatever. But when you're in perennial hiring, you have a great service that you don't have to pay for monthly. It's pausable, is what I've heard.
Correct. It's built to be what you need it to be. We have some of the biggest teams off the Real Trends lists have never stopped. For years they've been 12 months out of the year, and they're big enough where it's marketing to them. Always be marketing. They don't stop once they get a new list, and they're always looking for great talent. But we've got small teams that say, I just need an administrative assistant. It's just myself and my spouse, or three of us. I need some help creating more bandwidth on the TC side, on the admin side. And then it's 3, 4, 5, 6 months before they need to think about, maybe I'll expand to a buyer agent. So we allow them to turn the system off and on based on what they need. If they need it, we don't have any contracts.
Excellent. Well, I know that WizeHire is a great solution, and I know it's specifically because it was designed for the real estate industry, for where I got familiar with it. But you have multiple industries you serve. Do you want to mention just a few before we close this interview?
Yeah. So think about all the ancillary ones, right? Like all the realtors know title company people. So title, and then mortgage, and we've got a lot of insurance. But we've expanded into automotive and hospitality, accommodations. They're coming from all over the place. My personal favorite is a new franchise that specializes in exclusively picking up the dog waste in your yard. They just come around on a subscription once a week and pick up all of the dog
evidence. Yes. Wow.
Yep. So they're coming from all kinds of branches and walks of business and life.
Well, I want to thank you, the co-founder and chief strategy officer for WizeHire.com, Jay Niblick. You are an author, and we are delighted to tell people about your book. What made you write this book? I mean, it is, first of all, it was in such demand, it was sold out, and now we're redoing it, and it's like a best secret. It's forward by Tony Robbins. If you haven't heard of Tony Robbins, you've certainly heard of the Firewalk. I know Tony. It's really amazing how you laid this out. Tell us what people would get out of reading this book.
Uh, the book started, to your first question, with a research project. So our company specializes in personality assessments, and we spent 7 years, and we looked at 197,000 people across multiple countries. And it was a search to see if we could find, were there any traits, characteristics that correlated with performance across all jobs? Like if you have these 3 or 5 magic mixes, you can succeed in anything. 7 years later, I remember that the final meeting with the PhDs who'd summarized all the research, and they went, no, and I was like, it's a lot of time and a lot of money. And your answer is no, there's no statistically significant correlations. All right, thanks for playing. Tell them what they want, Bob. But they said, because as my heart started to stop, they said, there's 2 things that aren't traits though, but there's 2 characteristics we found. And the top performers, from the Tony Robbinses to the Marshall Goldsmiths to the directors of orthopedics at Harvard to the presidents of Yum Brands and PepsiCo, they were self-aware and they were authentic. Those are the 2 things that correlated with performance in any industry at any level. And so that's where the book came from, was to try to get that message out, that there are your natural talents based on how you think and make decisions. And that's you. That's what your gifts are. And there's just as many talents as you have as things that you stink at. And then the best performers are authentic to that. They don't say, man, I suck at these things. I guess I'll ignore what I'm great at, and I'm going to fix all the things on my bullet list of things I'm not good at. They just don't. They go, Marshall Goldsmith said it best. He goes, it's a lot of things I suck at, Jay. I just make sure I don't have to do them to be successful.
Yeah, he's actually one of the endorsements of your book, along with Dr. Ivan Meisner. And boy, there's some great people that have endorsed this book. I really loved, I got a copy, finally found one. And it in the very first couple of pages, Dr. Robert Hartman, and he went to the Hartman Institute, said, stop trying to put in what God left out and instead work with what he put in. And that really says the whole thing, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. But that's not how we're raised. The first 18 or 21 years of our life, we go to school. And at school, they say, you will excel in everything. The best students get A's in everything. And they get into the best schools and they get the best job offers. So when we go to work, they go, what are you great at? Okay, cool. Check, check, check. Here's your 15 things you're awesome at. What are the 10 things you suck at? Let's focus on getting rid of that list of 10 things you suck at. That's what it sounds like, and that's what most people tell us. But what the real research showed, and the best performers said, is no. Michael Orelli at PepsiCo said they tried that for many years as a leadership team, the executives at PepsiCo. They went into this, he said it was catastrophic. They all said, how are we going to fix what's wrong with each of us? How do we develop and get better? Now, I'm not talking about learning new skills or traits or knowledge. I'm talking about based on your neural network and the way your brain is wired. If you were an introvert, this would be the people that say, you need to be an extrovert. If you want to succeed, you got to be an extrovert. Look at all those people over there. They're successful. And then that person spends X period of time and energy trying to become an extrovert. But it's not going to change your natural style. And Lorelli at PepsiCo and the other people have all said, there are many ways to succeed. You just got to figure out your path. And you're trying to follow someone else's path. And they have different tools.
Yeah.
One has a hammer, you have a screwdriver. You can both be really successful. Just don't try to use one as the other.
That's a great analogy. Well, I know that we're in especially in the self-help world. But what I thought was extraordinary about this book, it's about appreciating and celebrating your natural talents.
It is.
You get peak performance. And really, I was surprised. I was somewhere where there was a television show on and Steve Harvey was asking the question. And I was really freaked out by some of the answers. And the question was, on a scale of 1 to 100, how much do you give at work? Now, being a neurotic overachiever, I was like, oh, I'll bet they're going to say, 90 or 95. They were like not even close. And so on the back of the book, you've put, if you're addicted to phrases like TGIF, the Monday morning blues, hump day, or mental health day, you need this book. That is so true. Because if you're spending your life currency doing things that you're not happy with or not celebrating your best, would you say talents and competencies, you're not really living your life. Maybe that's
that's what it goes back to Dr. Hartman's work, right? The quote that you said in the very beginning that I put in the front of that, the very first page of the book, right?
Yeah.
Is people People are told they need to fix themselves, and fixing themselves requires the presupposition that they're broken. And that's a really crappy way to wake up every morning and look in the mirror and go, oh, there's my broken self. You know, it's not about fixing yourself, or as he put it, it's not about putting in the traits that, you know, whatever your faith and beliefs are left out. It's about acknowledging what you do have. And that's plenty powerful enough. You know, it's hard enough. You can spend an entire life learning how to master the traits that you do have and the strengths and the skills, instead of ignoring them. Grass is greener and going, oh, I wish I was something else.
Yeah, that doesn't work well, because after you try to do that for a really long time, you find out the only thing you do is be the best you. Well, I would encourage people to get your book, What's Your Genius? Where can we find this book, Jay?
The 6th reprinting is coming out. The producer, we've exhausted the first 5. So the publisher said slowdowns due to everybody else in the world. Same thing with COVID. It's still up there on Kindle on Amazon, and
okay, so you
can
can
download it there. But once it's back into print here, hopefully the end of this month or next, and Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and anywhere else online, you can buy books.
I highly recommend it. Marshall Goldsmith said, it will help you discover your natural talents and reach your peak level of performance effortlessly. Jay does a great job of helping you learn the secrets of who you are and how you think, so you can unleash your greatest potential today. And I would say that's the best gift anybody could give any one of us. Don't you agree?
That's the hope, you know. I mean, it's really about just stop waking up and saying, damn it, I'm broke.
Yeah.
You know, you're not, but just be the best you. And it's kind of shocking when you read the people that are in there going, hey man, I suck at this. They own it. It's unabashed. They're like, don't ever ask me to do that.
Yeah.
And it's getting rid of the myth where people say, well, the best success people, they must not have that long laundry list of all the things they suck at. Oh, they do. It's absolutely just as long as the things they're not at. The big difference has been that they go, I'm only going to focus on these and ignore those, and just make sure that my success depends on this and my sex does not depend on that. That's it. I can get rid of that.
Really, absolutely right. You know, that when you do a really strong SWOT analysis, you know, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, we show people where those weaknesses are opportunities to like leverage other people if you can't do it yourself. Like I said, if I was doing your taxes, you would be in jail. So I want to thank you, Jay. I know that you've gone on to be the co-founder and chief strategy officer for WizeHire, which of course, really leverages the whole hiring with putting the right people in the right jobs, which this is a perfect partner to that, because it lets you know what you're good at. And then you can just celebrate that. So what's the best way to reach you for interviews or consultations, the kinds of things that you do for other companies?
Oh, glad to help anybody that needs it. Just feel free to send me you can go visit the website, right? WizeHire.com, WIZEHIRE.com. Or feel free to send me an email directly, jay@wizehire.com.
Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Terri Murphy for the Women's Wisdom Network, Realty Times Women in Business, Women in Real Estate, and In the Men's Room with Murph. Join us again for another great segment with Jay, because there's going to be one coming up.